I fight I defend this band tooth and nail every single day, and to take care of my people and believe in what we're doing. And it's because of KISS and what they told me to stand up and believe in my entire life. I reached out to Bart one day and said, does your dad know anybody that can help us to make that same fascia for our drum riser? And don't you know that Teddy got Gary's son, Gary Jr., who owns a company in upstate New York, to make that fascia for us. Those three pieces fit together that cost us $7,000 to make. And that was made by the son of the guy who made the original Dynasty drum riser for KISS in 1979. I've met everybody who was ever in KISS, even Eric Carr, Mark St. John, and Vinnie Vincent. I've met everyone. Some of them many, many times over.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tribute Band Sessions Podcast. We have another amazing, this episode's going to be great. But before Ray tells you our special guest today, I have to tell you, if you like what you're seeing here, you got to comment, you got to like, and the biggest thing is subscribe. And then if you also want to listen, you can find us everywhere where you find podcasts, on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and all the rest of those podcast world places out there. Ray, who do we have?
Well, Mike, today we got Rich Kosak from the band Mr. Speed, which happens to be a KISS tribute band. Rich Kosak is, I believe he plays the star child in the band.
Paul Stanley is his name.
As
you know?
Well, of course. Of course it's Paul Stanley. You know?
And we have to speed this up so we get into the interview.
Oh, God. All right, let's just start. Rich, where are you? Help me before Mike continues with the jokes.
So welcome to the show, Rich.
Thank you, fellas. I really appreciate the time.
Welcome here, man. Awesome.
So, Ray, I know you have a million questions for Rich. I'm going to let you take the lead.
Rich, okay, let's talk about your early influences. Like, how did they shape your musical journey? Not the music of Journey, your musical journey.
Oh, but I love Journey.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. I actually got to meet Steve Perry one day, but that's a whole nother podcast.
That'll be the next episode you're on.
Sure. My early influences are Pittsburgh radio back in the 70s. 3 different radio stations, christened me on music. First album I can remember ever listening to was Cat Stevens' Catch Bullet 4. And then I went from there into Frampton Comes Alive.
Great album.
Peter Frampton was the first rock musician that basically popped my cherry and exposed me to a life that I have now had for, let's just call it 55 years. I'm 61. So, I figured out, I think when I was around 12, that music was something that was going to be important. My dad sang barbershop music for over 40 years. I have an older brother who teaches up in Minneapolis. He has a classical guitar degree from Arizona State University. So I had a lot of music in my home. My first live concert, July 28th, 1978, was the Commodores. Just absolutely blown away by them and the production and everything and the harmonies and whatnot. Then I saw Yes in the Round in 79, and then I saw KISS. So those were my first 3 live shows. But I can run the gamut of listening to Journey, to Triumph, to Night Ranger, to Stryper, to a band called New England that I saw open for KISS in 79. And I've become friends with the 4 guys in New England since then. So it's kind of wild seeing them as a 15-year-old in July of 79 open for my favorite band, and then becoming friends with those guys to this day. I've even had Gary and Hirsch play on some of my original music, which has been a dream come true. So,
oh, that's crazy. That's such a great, you're fortunate and lucky to have those, the people in the music industry that you grew up with, fans, and now you're getting to work with them. It's a 360 right there.
It's kind of a bucket list thing for me. I worked 3.5 years for Universal Music in the mid to late 90s, so I was a field marketing rep. I got to go to a lot of shows. I met a lot of people. I know how to conduct myself around people who are considered celebrities. I'm not one of those fanboy dudes.
Right.
I've met KISS I've met everybody who was ever in KISS, even Eric Carr, Mark St. John, and Vinnie Vincent. I've met everyone, some of them many, many times over. And most recently, I got to meet Paul in October of 23 when they did their last show here in Cleveland. And I spent 15 minutes just talking to him about my band and letting him know what it has meant to me to put on that makeup, which is copywritten and trademarked, and to show the utmost respect to the best of my ability, both talent-wise and financially, with Mr. Speed for 31 years. And he shook my hand and said, "You're the connection between us and the fans."
That's amazing. I mean, I know that fast forwarding, I know you have, I think it's called the Land Cruise or something of that nature, but it's in Vegas where they used to all do the boat cruises, but you got that coming up. And you're maybe one of two bands that are going to be performing at that event, which is amazing because you're on the same bill. I've seen the billboard, and you're on the same bill as KISS. So it's like KISS, and it says Mr. Speed right there. I know. That's crazy. So you guys must feel really good about that. I'd love to find out how that came about. But I wanted to ask how you got into like the tribute bands, and what drew you to KISS specifically.
Well, if at any point during this interview I tear up, it's just because that's the kind of person that I am when I talk about this to people like you.
Sure.
I take what I do probably more seriously than I should because of the reverency that I have for KISS and what they created. It's never lost on me when I put that star on my face or we play this music, but this belongs to someone else. This is their dream. This is their creation. And I was inspired by them as a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid. I've never done drugs. I've never been involved in anything that was stereotypically rock and roll. It was always for the love of the music. KISS gave me a reason to escape and to go into my bedroom and have the posters on my walls and even my ceiling. I did the whole thing. They kept me safe. They gave me a reason to feel good about myself and believe in something. But I didn't realize when I started Mr. Speed in late 93 that I would be talking to cool people like you 31 years later who have questions that want to ask me, how did this all start? And it was literally one day at a time. I never dreamt of a 31-year plan. There was never.
I mean, it's amazing the career you have,
Yeah, it's super cool, dudes. And, the hard part is building the culture within the band and finding people that want to be on your team. Because everybody's got their own agenda. Everybody's different. And believe me, I have run the gamut in Mr. Speed with personalities, idiosyncrasies, egos, the whole nine yards. I like to joke and call myself, I'm a part-time dentist because eventually when a tooth gets infected, I got to yank it and I got to replace it with a fake tooth or a better tooth. Because, your oral health is everything in life. And the same thing applies to bands, man, because it's not only keeping myself happy, but it's keeping 3 other people happy. And then if they've got an extended family, I've got to appease them too. And sometimes it doesn't always work out.
No, you have your hands full being the band leader of, even a 4-piece band.
It's definitely a business. And the band itself is the building that you have to maintain and the foundation. So that's huge. That's huge. Yeah. How's the idea for Mr. Speed? How did that come about?
Well, I was at a record show one Sunday afternoon in Pittsburgh, and this is back in the summer of 93, and was just meandering through with a buddy of mine, and I happened to see a guy looking at a KISS book. So I noticed that, and I made a comment over his left shoulder. He spun around and we started talking. And before we left that record show, we had exchanged phone numbers. So I started meeting with him. I lived on the north side of Pittsburgh. He lived on the east side. And I would drive over to his house once or twice a week. And it was just the two of us sitting in his bedroom, woodshedding on guitar. And he was much better of a player than I was. So the concept for Mr. Speed, if I can be so bold, was never meant to be anything more than two guys playing guitar onto a cassette tape. That was it. And look at me now.
Wow.
I'm sitting here 31 years later, with people that think that what we do is pretty damn cool.
It actually is really cool. I mean, because you actually do it very authentically. I watched a ton of your videos. I'm sure Ray has seen it. Plus, you know, the name speaks for itself, but your stage show is just amazing. From the costumes to the kiss sign in back of you, you know, to the lighting, the way, you know, it's done correctly. So I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to interject that. Yeah.
No, it's okay, because Kiss has always said, and I've read in so many interviews with these guys over the years, they always wanted to be the band that they never saw on stage. I want to be the tribute band that I would want to go see. And I believe the fans, if I put myself in the head of every fan that's out there, they want to see what is closest to the real thing. And for me, it's, if you close your eyes, sonically, I want it to sound as close to the record as we can within our own natural ability and talent. But then if you open your eyes, and even squint, I'll let you squint when you watch us. I want it to resemble a photograph or a poster, or you saw them live, or, you know, something along the line, because the age group of the people that come to see Mr. Speed varies from 7 years old to 70 years old. And maybe somebody didn't see them in 1977, but they saw them in 2017. So I've got to make sure that I appeal to that whole spectrum of fan that comes to see our show, because it's important to me. And you know what, like I said earlier, I'm 61 years old. I have a replaced right knee. I have a bad low back. You know, playing a 2-hour show or a 90-minute show in 7-inch platform shoes it's not easy. You know,
that's rough.
It is not,
no.
It is not,
Well, welcome to the music business.
you know, but by the same token, it's my cross. Nobody wants to hear me cry about it. And so I leave my shit at the door when we show up at a venue, and it's time to give my best effort.
Yeah, that's like what you have to do to be in a A-level band like yours, you know, that performs in the scene, you know, and rises above the other bands that are out there doing it.
There's a lot of stuff people don't know that's involved in creating a real show. I mean, a legit show. And the audience is there. Thank God they show up, they buy the tickets. They're there to party, there to celebrate the music. But they don't know the type of work that's been put into it before the downbeat of song one. And it's months and months and years of creating the ultimate show for the return of the audience member to buy tickets again and again and again. You know, and that, I mean, you said it, man. When you go up there with your back hurting, a knee hurting, we're athletes. In a sense, we are athletes, you know.
It's no doubt. I mean, you figure anybody performing up there for 90 minutes for 20 plus years, it's going to do stuff to you. You know, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm not Benjamin Button, so I'm not going backwards. I'm going this way. And, you know, but again, those people that pay that hard-earned money to come and see our band, they deserve my A game every time we hit the stage. And, you know, we're not doing, you know, 50 shows a year. I mean, I'm lucky if we do 25 shows a year. You know, here in Cleveland, there are bands that play every single weekend, you know, but by the same token, and I don't shit talk anybody, because everybody's different and everybody's got their own thing. But at the end of the day, I love the hard work that we put into what we do with Mr. Speed. And there's 6 of us that do all of this. I have 2 drivers that if I need to take this show to the West Coast, I can employ somebody from Cincinnati who will travel that truck out there, taking our stage set and all of our gear and costuming, and then we fly. If it's East Coast, I have another guy who's local, but they're both over-the-road truck drivers, and it costs a lot of money to do that. I'm not just putting scrims on stage, and I'm not just doing, you know, what's easy to get by, because, again, I'm trying to be something that the fans want to come and see.
No, I saw your stage show. You have and I don't know the correct terms for each prop, but you have, and I should because I'm a huge Kiss fan, but you have on the left and right-hand side, you have the big props that, you know, light up. You have the big Kiss logo. You have literally a riser that reminds me of, I don't know of the year, but Alive, the album cover, it reminds me of that. And just this video that I watched the other day of you guys, the color scheme, and it's probably intentional that you have your light guy doing, is of that nature, of that record. You know what I mean? Of the 78 Alive. I don't know if it's 78 Alive or, but it's the Alive record, but you're making it come to life with that show. You mentioned something that I wanted to touch on. You try and go from all the eras of Kiss. Well, how do you create a set list? Because it's endless.
Oh my goodness. And there isn't a show that goes by where we don't have our ass handed to us by some fan. You know, we'll play 21 songs and somebody's going to come up to the meet and greet after and go, man, I really wish you played Love Gun, or I really wish you did this. But there's so many songs and so little time. So we try to encapsulate something from a lot of the records. I mean, we do non-makeup era music. We'll do Lick It Up. We'll do Heaven's on Fire. We've done Love Theme from Kiss. We've played the whole Rock and Roll Over album from front to back. We've done Twist and Kill from front to back over the years. We'll never make everyone happy. And I'm okay with that because I would rather leave them wanting more than going, oh, I saw them. I don't need to see them again. And if I may, I'd like to rewind back to this conversation about the drum or our stage set.
Sure.
The drum riser fascia that you're speaking of is from 1979. And that was from the Dynasty.
79. I was close. I was a year
Very
off.
close. 4 years. Very close. So the original company was McManus Enterprises that made that for Kiss in 1979. And a guy by the name of Teddy Van Bemmel was one of the people that worked with Gary Rosenberg. And they were the team at McManus Enterprises. Gary Sr. has since passed. Teddy is very much alive, living in Orlando, Florida. Really quick, I've become friends with Teddy's son, Bart, who does a Bryan Adams tribute out of Dallas. I reached out to Bart one day and said, does your dad know anybody that can help us to make that same fascia for our drum riser? And don't you know that Teddy got Gary's son, Gary Jr., who owns a company in upstate New York, to make that fascia for us. Those three pieces fit together. That cost us $7,000 to make. And that was made by the son of the guy who made the original Dynasty drum riser for Kiss in 1979. So that's the level, if you want to talk about something a little bit extreme, that we go to give the fans the best experience possible. And that thing is a son of a bitch to protect and travel with. Let me just tell you.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, you guys, you do it right. You have the stage look that creates, you know, the authentic that a tribute band like yours needs to do. I mean, there's lots of bands out there doing the tribute thing that can just get on stage and play the songs from top down and they're good to go. And I guess that's okay. But yours is, I mean, Kiss created a show that you come. So if four guys were just playing the music and you didn't have that, I'm sure it would sound great if they were good, but you're missing a part of the element of the show, in my opinion.
And there is so much more that we can't even do. We're not licensed to use true pyrotechnics, so there's no explosives or anything like that. But we do the blood spitting, the fire breathing, the rocket and smoking guitar. We have a 30-second confetti storm. We have the drum riser fascia. We have the fake amps. Our stage set is as close of a replica to the 1980 Unmasked stage as we can possibly make out of our own pockets. I've never had financial backing from anybody. I've never had a guitar string endorsement. I've never had a stick endorsement. I've never had a beer endorsement. I've done all of this in 31 years out of the basically the Bank of Kosak, if you will.
Good for you.
I'll never see that money again. That money's gone. And my wife and I are so in debt for Mr. Speed. But at the end of the day, I'm talking to people like you because whatever we're doing is being noticed.
Oh, no doubt. And obviously Kiss is noticing it too, putting you on that show they have you on.
That's a scary thing. But again, at the end of the day, I love the challenge. I've shared the stage with Ace. I've played with Eric Singer. I've played with both Bob and Bruce Kulick. And the air changes when you get to play with these guys. It's a real thing. It's emotional. The fans, you don't realize it when you put your heart and soul into something that it means so much to you. And to be recognized, I'm really sorry. But
no, you're good, man.
It's rewarding, man. It's rewarding. Like you said, you're being acknowledged by obviously what's a Vegas thing. Is this the first time you do work with Paul and Gene, like at the same, same venue?
I have a really awful experience when they opened the Kiss mini golf thing in Vegas. We competed against 200 Kiss tribute bands around the world, and we won that competition. Tommy Thayer voted us the winner of that competition. We went up against 3 other bands in Vegas at the Hard Rock on a stage the size of my laptop. And we got 4 songs or 20 minutes to do our thing. And at the end of that competition, Tommy chose us. And I asked him at the end of it, when we took a photo with him, why he chose us. And he said, because you guys played like a band. And, we rehearsed really hard for that for about 6 weeks, twice a week leading up to it. And we were ready to go. But when we went to Vegas to actually perform for the grand opening of the mini golf thing, Kiss was there. They were inside. And I think we were supposed to play a total of 3 hours worth of music that day. We played about 35 minutes. And it sucked. It sucked. And it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. It was like every time we tried to play, someone said we were too loud, or we had to stop because a wedding was coming in. They were marrying somebody and we needed to stop. And it was just a nightmare.
Did you say, well, if it's too loud, you're too old?
No, man. Ray, I had so much to say. I couldn't even get out of Vegas.
It probably wasn't the
man.
right venue for something like that to happen. I've seen that place. I don't even know if it's still open, but I have seen it in Vegas. And to me, it's just like if you have that place or across the street, you have a Hard Rock stage to play on, you probably want to play on the Hard Rock stage.
Well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I saw a photo recently where I think the Kiss mini golf eventually became that Vamped place, which is now closing in Vegas. I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah, I know that place too. Yeah, the Counts Customs owns that place. I know them through working in just the car TV industry. So I know that place well. I've been there.
So if you look across the parking lot, if there's a Walgreens across the parking lot, we played right outside the Walgreens. So,
oh, wow.
Same place. Yeah.
So you had the Spinal Tap performance of, Mr. Speed.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, if that was one of the not most glamorous kind of performances, tell us about some of your, really high-end performances that you thought, oh, man, this was great. I could do this every week like this.
Well, okay, so 3 years ago, we played Freedom Hall in Johnson City, Tennessee. And if you've ever heard of that place or been there, when we pulled up to the property outside, I thought we were playing in some little annex. And I mean, this building is like a monolith. It's enormous. And I kept going around the parking lot and pulled up to the dock door, and it was every bit of 70s arena rock. And I walked through that door, and, man, I came unglued because we were able to put our stage set up on a stage in this place. And I mean, everybody from Boston to Cheap Trick to Van Halen to Elvis to Kiss to, anybody that I grew up listening to has played this room. And here we were.
Wow.
We were in there, and I was like, you got to be shitting me. So that is one of my proudest moments of being able to stand back at the back of the hall and look at our stage set up on a stage there and know we were going to play for people who were coming to pay hard-earned money to watch us play. I think we ended up playing for about 12 or 1,300 people that night. It wasn't packed, but in my head, man, it was everything. It was everything I've ever dreamed of. I played the Palace of Auburn Hills for a Detroit Piston Cleveland Cavalier playoff game. Now, being from Cleveland, we were hired by the Detroit Pistons to go to a playoff game, and 18,000 people are at this playoff game, and they put us on a corner of the bowl. And I think we played snippets of 4 Kiss songs that night. But I got to say I played in front of 18,000 people.
That's a thrill.
They weren't there to see us, but we still did it. It was still cool.
Yeah.
Still cool.
It's such a thrill. I mean, to be able to play those venues with a tribute band, because those venues most of the time belong to the national acts that are out there on tour. So no, good for you. That's amazing. We see the tribute scene changing so much these days and growing actually. How do you see it? Like not only from the standpoint of Kiss fans, but the scene itself. Do you have any like views, opinions?
Yeah, I think my strongest opinion is I wish Kiss would police Kiss tribute bands out there. I think there's a lot of guys that are just stealing money and not doing the band any justice. I know there was a point in their career where Gene was all about how many Kiss bands were out there, as opposed to the quality of the Kiss bands that are out there, because most of them don't really do much of anything, as you guys have noticed. The scene here in Cleveland is, a tribute scene. Anybody and their brother calls themselves a tribute band. And in my opinion, they're all cover bands. Because if you're not putting the effort into creating the look and at least trying to wear a wig that maybe resembles the guy that you're trying to portray, and you're just popping into hot topics and buying a bowling shirt with flames on it, I'm not impressed. I'm simply not impressed, because my outfit that's sitting across the room from me is about $8,000.
Right.
And my guitar that I put on is $5,300. So just on me, you've got $13,000 for me to do it to the best of my ability. And I wish I could do it even more. I wish we had more stuff that we could put on stage, but we just don't have a big enough trailer because they're expensive, and everything boils down to money. I mean, I may let the cat out of the bag and it's cool, but we're doing this thing in Cadillac, Michigan, coming up here in the beginning of October. And I've thought to myself, what can we do for the people of Cadillac? Because Kiss did something so cool there 50 years ago. So we're creating a 5-card trading card set, Mr. Speed cards.
Wow.
And yesterday I sat here with one of my web people. He's actually my old web designer. And we created the wrapper to go on the outside of those cards, because I don't want to just tuck them into a Ziploc bag and do this. I want to actually create it so that it has our logo on the outside. And when we sell it to a fan, they get to open it. Now, there won't be any cheesy, shitty gum in there, but there's going to be a real Mr. Speed guitar pick in every single pack. And
that's pretty cool. It takes
cool.
a lot of work to do something like that.
Yeah, Mike, it took my whole day off yesterday to create that, going back and forth, and then making sure that at the end of it, I had that copyright logo next to the Kiss logo, because I don't want somebody from Pop House knocking on my door.
Right.
I am not doing that.
Yeah.
I've kept my nose clean for over 3 decades, and I'm not about now to. And I'm a little nervous going to Vegas, I'll be honest, because I've designed a T-shirt already for us to sell, because they've told us that we can. But I got to make sure that that's really going to happen.
Yeah, because, now that Kiss sold basically Paul and Gene, they don't own Kiss anymore. Now, that, do you see it possibly affecting Mr. Speed down the line?
I do. I really do. I try not to give it any kind of real solid energy, because I believe what I think about, I bring about. And I'm not about bringing that into my world. That was why when I talked to Paul, I said what I said, and his reply was what it was, but that was prior to them selling what they had created.
Right.
I find it really hard to believe that they're completely hands off. But Paul was on a Howie Mandel podcast not that long ago, and he made some statements about people in my position. And I actually edited that clip and shared it on my personal Facebook page, because I felt in the back of his mind he was thinking about Mr. Speed. He may not have been, but to me, it felt like he was thinking about us when he was saying, your heart needs to be in the right place. And God damn it, mine is.
Right. And you know what? I'm sure they're aware, but those guys are aware of everything that's going on. And because you're in front of them, they're more aware of you. So I am sure if it comes down to a company, policing all this, they might go, hey, did you ever hear of Mr. Speed? And they'll be like, oh yeah, we had him X, Y, and Z, this and that. And the event that you're playing in Las Vegas, I gotta believe the new owners are going to be there of the actual company of KISS, and they'll be there, and they might even come up to you and say, hey, X, this or that, in a good way. And then you might be surprised. Oh, really? Okay. So you just never know where business will take you.
Oh my goodness. I'm welcoming a conversation with somebody who wants to talk to me about what we're doing or the future of what we've done or where we can take this thing. I mean, speaking with you guys, I'm hoping that there's some positivity that can come out of this, and somebody will see this or hear something and think, this is a band that we'd like to work with, because it's a struggle. I mean, it's a struggle every day for me to get work. I don't have an exclusivity with any agency. I've tried to get in bed with certain people. Nobody wants to work with us. I mean, it's just, I bite and scratch for every single show that we get. And
so do you guys have an agent, or you are the agent? You book everything.
I'm the guy.
You book everything. And do the agents not want to, do they already have another KISS band, or did they shy away from that? Or I would think, because from what I've seen online, it's you and maybe one other band, two other bands, and that's it, that are at the level you're at, at the show perspective, the popularity. So I would think agents would be all over it.
Yeah, I've thought that too. And I keep doing, my dad used to tell me life is too short. So I just keep moving. And I can't wait for people. I had a guy here locally reach out to me about a local city festival yesterday, and I wouldn't pick up my truck keys for what they're willing to offer us as monetary compensation. It's
right.
I value what we do as a KISS tribute band far greater than these people value. And it's very frustrating, but I do. I put on my gloves and I fight for, I defend this band tooth and nail every single day, and to take care of my people and believe in what we're doing. And it's because of KISS and what they told me to stand up and believe in my entire life. I mean, I find it funny when people say, well, Gene and Paul are these money mongers or whatnot. No, they're fighting for their American dream, and I'm fighting for mine. And, I've got people that rely on me who want to go out and play KISS music. And I'm going to do my damnedest every single day to give them the best experience that I can.
No, that's amazing. How did you end up finding the people from KISS? From your band, Mr. Speed, that is.
I have a really good story that I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
Of how I found my bass player. Because
okay.
I had to sign an NDA not to talk about an experience, but I can talk to you off camera about how I found.
No problem. Yeah.
And then
was it the actual? Did you go down the of who you knew, or not the bass player? We'll talk about that later, but. Even the other members, was it an audition process? Did you hold it like any other band would do it, or just people you knew?
Yeah, I happened to see Mark, my lead guitar player. He lives in Great Bend, Kansas, which is 2 hours outside of Wichita. So for Mark to get anywhere that we go, he's got to drive 2 hours from where he lives to Wichita. That's the closest area, and then fly to wherever we need him to go. Or else he'll drive, because he loves to use his 16-hour car rides in one direction as therapy. And God bless Mark. He's a much stronger guy in that regard than I am. But I just saw a Facebook post with him one day singing New York Groove, and I reached out to him when I was at a crossroads with my previous ace. And I said, do you have any interest? And he said, sure. And I said, well, then I've set up this audition here in Cleveland. Why don't you come in, bring your costume with you, and we'll take some photos and see how it goes. So he did. He came in, and don't you know, at that point we were doing the Love Gun era, and he forgot the waistband for his costume. So he gets here, and we had to hide him in the photos so that you couldn't see that he didn't have his.
Oh, that's funny.
It's not like it's always something. I've had very heavy.
Oh, that's funny.
I've had very heavy guys that were portraying Gene that I had to hide in the back. And the three of us would position ourselves with guitars, so that you wouldn't see his belly.
Right.
It's there isn't a KISS store, at the end of my street where I can go and I can say, I'll take that and I'll take that. And,
Right. I need this in extra large, and
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And again, I'm 61 years old. I'm on my Peloton bike 4 times a week. I'm doing what I can because nobody wants to see a sack of cats in a spandex bodysuit portraying Paul Stanley. The guy was always in shape. And, it gets harder as we age to stay motivated and to stay inspired to do that. But Paul Stanley is my inspiration, and the fans are my inspiration. And they deserve Rich's A game. No excuses.
No, that's a great story. You don't even think about, like, when you look at these tribute acts, some of them, they're just playing the music to play the music. But when you think about a band like Kiss, or, I can't think of maybe like a Steven Tyler or something like that, they're the front guy. And you think Steven Tyler still looks amazing for his age, and he's in shape. So it's a little bit, it's a part, it's like Ray said earlier, you're in the entertainment industry. If you really want to make it, you got to do all those things, to be able to keep going,
I like to drink beer. I have a giant sweet tooth, and it is really big. But I got to be able to, within reason, I just take what I do very seriously. It means a lot to me. So
no, that's like one of the things.
Rick, what's your favorite Kiss song to play?
It changes from day to day, but I'll give you a non-makeup. I'll give you a makeup. My makeup song is Mr. Speed, and my non-makeup song is Unholy.
Wow. Okay.
Cool. Because the guitar styles are so different. Unholy is such an aggressive song. Revenge was such a killer album. They were pissed off, and they came back, and they had Eric Singer on the drums, a blonde guy from Kiss. It was spitting in the face of everything that they had done before, but they did it, and they were so badass in that era.
Do you play Creatures?
Yes.
Is Creatures part of the set?
It's the opening track.
Oh, it is? You open with Creatures?
Yes.
Oh, that's a great song.
Yes.
That's a great song.
Yes.
I love the production work on that album.
And my goodness. And, because we have an Eric Carr in our band, we have fans that, try to hand us our hat at every show. You didn't sing Beth. And why isn't Peter? We paid respect to Peter for 28 years. And when our last Peter Chris left, I had one interview. And that interview is sitting behind me for the past 3 years. Because Rich Hattery came in and he said, I'll do Peter, but I'm open to anything. And I said, you know what? I really want to make a change. How do you feel about being Eric? And he goes, I love Eric Carr. He's one of my favorite drummers. And Loretta Caravello, Eric's sister, has even given us her family stamp of approval to pay tribute to Eric. And I don't need anybody else to tell me anything. I've got Eric's.
That's amazing.
I've got Eric's.
I was going to ask you that because I saw that and on more of the, the recent photos and everything. And I thought that was really cool. Everybody loved Eric, great drummer.
I got to meet Eric twice. He was everything that you ever heard about him to the fans.
Yeah.
It's none of my business how things ended when he passed away. But Rich is a kick-ass drummer. He played 14 years in a Metallica band that he started before he joined Mr. Speed. And so he's got the chops. And I love standing on stage left watching his solo every single night. And I can't say that about a lot of the drummers I've had over my 31-year history. But I love watching Rich play because he plays with passion. So.
Yeah, no,
Cool.
That's good.
Very cool.
As far as we have a lot of people that are watching this podcast, we have a lot of musicians. Of course, musicians want to break into the tribute band scene. Not per se saying a Kiss tribute band, but just in general. Is there any advice, you being in the business for so long and doing what you do, could give to somebody trying to start a tribute band?
It was so different when I started. I would say, first of all, don't take shit from anybody, ever. Just don't do it. Believe in yourself and surround yourself with like-minded people. That's the three top things that I would tell somebody who wanted to do a tribute band. I mean, if you're going to be in a Journey tribute band, try to look like Steve Smith from '79. Try to look like Ross Valerie. Don't just get up there with your short hairdo and try and sell it off because one guy wants to look like Steve Perry with a crappy wig. It burns my ass to because I love Journey and I got to meet Steve in '94. And, I had a heart-to-heart conversation with the guy, and he looked at me and he said, you could be me in a Journey tribute band with that nose. And if it wasn't for Steve Perry saying that to me, I probably would have taken offense before people took offense to the wind blower. But, now, back then, having Steve Perry, we're both leaning up against the wall at a record retail corporate office, and he's talking to me like we've known each other for 15 years. So, when I see these Journey bands, there are some that do it really well, and there are some that just, it's a shame. Because how hard is it to wear Jordache jeans, Nike Cortez shoes, and, a leopard print shirt? How hard?
Well, I don't think those bands are not taking it as serious as they need to take it to be a successful tribute band and have a long career like your band has had. And that's knowing how to work the business. It's business 101. You know what I mean?
If you're hiring, because every event has a budget. And there are bigger budgets and there are smaller budgets. And the smaller budgets are going to go after the guys that just walked out of Hot Topics with one guy that looks like whoever he's supposed to look like in that band. And they call them
right.
Band. And I don't get down like that. Our band works really, really hard at being who we are. And we do our work. We do our homework. And you're talking to me because we must be doing something close to it.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, man. A great job at it too, Mark, man. Rick, you're killing it. Good job.
Hey, I'm really honored that you even say that to me.
It's the truth. I mean, when Ray and I discuss which guests we're going to have on, it's kind of like, as you know, there's 5 million tribute bands in the world right now, and it's trying to get the cream of the crop, to come onto the show and talk to us because we know they have a story to tell because they're successful. And to become successful, you have that story. So, Ray, once again, I'm going to say what I always say. Time has...
Yeah.
I'm going to use this. You ready? Come on, guys. Sped by. Mr. Speed by. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. All right. I'll be here all day if you guys want to hang on the call.
I hope we edit that out.
Are you kidding? I'm going to start with that. Anyway, I want to know where do you see the band in 10 years from now? Continuing on? What do you want to do with the band?
I want to do Vegas in November. I want the KISS community, fans from Japan, fans from Germany, fans from Australia, wherever they might be from. This is my first chance to play for KISS fans from around the world. This is my shot. This is our shot to show them who we are, to let them see us, to let them hear us, to let them feel us. I'm worried about November. Where we are in 3 years, I can't say where we are in 10 years.
Well, kick ass in November. I know you're going to kick ass. It's going to be an amazing event.
It'll be good. Paul and Gene are going to be there with you celebrating, and Tommy, and that'll be amazing.
And Bruce is going to be there. Bruce is very aware. He came to see us in Vegas back in January, and he actually reached out and said, I want to come early before they open the doors. I want to, spend some time with you. And he and Lisa showed up, and they spent about 90 minutes with us before we even started getting into our makeup. And it was, I couldn't ask more for Bruce. He was just so kind. And I reach out to him even to ask him about little guitar things here and there, just because I want to be able to play my rhythm parts right. It means I wish I could sit with Paul and say, what did you do here? Because I want to show that kind of respect. But, I'll never reach out to a knucklehead like me. So,
yeah, well, never say never. That's for sure. Well, Ray, once again, we are out of time.
We're done.
This has been great.
You, man.
And we're totally thankful that you made the time for us to be on the show. And hopefully when things get going, we can come back and do part 2 and maybe hear more stories from you.
Well, on behalf of everybody in my band, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Tribute Band Sessions podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment. Want more info? Sign up to our mailing list at tributebandsessions.com. It's the best way to stay in the loop on upcoming episodes, special guests, and behind-the-scenes stories, and all things tribute bands. And don't forget to follow us on all our socials at Tribute Band Sessions. Thanks for watching.